Hi, Lunch and Learn with Gerchick Real Estate again. Thank you so much for attending. Remember that we have these once a week. Look at our events page on our website to see what's coming up or what we've done. What we've done will be on the website under our Lunch and Learn. You will need to register under the events, under the members only area to have access to our past videos from Lunch and Learn. Today we're very pleased to have our licensed contractor here to talk about the importance of permitting, how you need permits, kind of some stumbling blocks that you can have. Rob is here with Building Consultant Solutions, and we have a little extra today, which is good, is Rick, who does our architectural drawings. So we got two for the bang of one. How's that? Rob, take it away.
All right, the importance of permitting.
And Rob's a little new to the video world, so bear with him. Go ahead, Rob.
All right, the importance of permitting. One, it's required by all municipalities for most building projects. It's also a law requirement. Some people don't know if they need a permit or not, so what I would suggest is consult with the lights in there. Consult with a licensed contractor. He can certainly point you in the right direction, and you can also consult your local building department. Make a phone call, stop by, introduce yourself if you're interested in doing a project, and just say, hey, this is what I want to do. Does it require a permit? And then you know for sure. And then you have your bases covered. Rick, you have anything to add on that point?
Contact an architect typically too, and then they can go through your options to find out what your setbacks are and kind of get you through the process so you can kind of understand.
So Rick, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do we need a licensed architect, or can we have a draftsman?
No, you don't need a licensed architect. You can use a design guy, a draftsman, something like that, and then they can take their drawings and get them stamped by a structural engineer, and get your civils done by a certified engineer.
So if I'm gonna have drawings done by a draftsman, okay, is there a cost benefit for that?
Yes, it's significantly reduced just by the default that you have one guy doing the drawings instead of having a team of guys doing the drawings.
And are you a draftsman or are you an architect?
I'm a design guy, I'm a draftsman.
You're a draftsman, so a great source for our clients. The other thing is, at what point do you need to move from a draftsman to a licensed architect?
Commercial buildings.
Commercial.
You're doing large commercial buildings above the TI scale.
And what is
You
the
do
TI scale?
three levels or more.
Okay.
Typically, the building department will want to have a stamped architect. That's not to say you can't use a draftsman to do your drawings initially. A lot of times you can have a draftsman that works with architects that they'll review your drawings and give them a stamp and work with the draftsman and still a reduced price as opposed to having an architect do it.
Excellent. So Rob, on permits and stuff, how much do permits typically add to the cost of let's just say a basic rehab?
Basic
And
rehab.
I get that it depends on what kind of permits, but kind of just a general idea.
I would say $2,500, $1,500 to $2,500. You're gonna have the cost of a designer.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the cost of the permit fees, and you know that could be depending on the size of the project. It can be anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500. A lot of municipalities have a general fee and then a price per square footage after that.
Okay.
So that's generally how that works.
So here's another question. I spend $2,500 for permits, right? Let's suppose that I don't do that. I build the project, and then one of the cities knocks on the door and says, "Guess what? You get to do retro permits," right?
Well, that can be a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Then they're going to want to inspect it. So whatever you've done, they may ask you to take it down. If you've covered it with drywall, they're going to ask you to take the drywall down.
Yeah.
At least a couple sections so they can take a look at the work. They're going to halt your project. They're going to give you a nice fine.
Yep.
And then it's going to sit on somebody's desk and give you a lesson. So it could if you're flipping a house, that could cost you a month or two of hard money lending.
Sure. And so, it's not in the kind of position, do it first and ask permission later. It's one of these that you should have permission and then do it.
You should. I'm a licensed general contractor, and I don't like to play the game. It's by the book for me.
Okay.
And I would suggest everybody do that. And like I said, if you're unfamiliar with the process and you're unsure, just call a reputable contractor or call the city, and they'll direct you in the right direction.
I'm gonna let you continue here, but let me ask you this, for a reputable contractor, where are some sources people can look to see if you're reputable?
Registrar Contractors.
Number one place, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just go onto their website, plug the name in there, and they'll tell you how many complaints they have, and they'll let you know if they're legal or not. There's a lot of contractors out there that say they are and they're not, and that is your one source to find out if that's a reputable contractor.
Right. What kind of teeth does the registrar of contractors have with you guys?
Well, pretty big. They go after unlicensed contractors, and they go after them legally and keep them from doing any business. And sometimes there's a sentence that follows that.
What if I have a licensed contractor though, and he screws up? He doesn't abide by his contract with me.
Okay, then you would make a complaint with the registrar of contractors. They would send somebody out to take a look at what it is, and then there's a recovery fund. So if a contractor says, okay, here's $60,000 worth of work, they take your money, they run, then there's bonds in place that us as contractors have to place with the registrar of contractors that you can recoup some of those funds through.
Good.
I've never been through the process. I'd imagine it's
Well, that's a
little
good thing, right?
Yeah, it is a good
It's a
thing.
good thing.
But that's what it's there for.
Okay, all right. So now I'm gonna quit interrupting you and let you continue, guys.
Right. The value. When you take your plans and bring them down to the city, okay, you have the value of the city reviewing your construction documents. So Rick here draws a set of documents, sends them in, and there may be a code or two that he missed, or a design flaw, or a bearing situation that may be wrong. You have somebody at the city that's reviewing it, putting a second set of eyes to it. So there's a benefit to submitting for a permit. You're taking your plan, and you're having it reviewed down at the city. You're also ensured that the project will be up to date on all your codes. So you're doing a kitchen remodel, and it's from the 50s, and the city may say, okay, we have to update some of the electrical, we need to connect all the smoke detectors. So you're ensuring that's done properly, you're up to date, and you'll have the benefit of a city inspector. So you have an inspector that comes out to the job site, he'll inspect your work, and he'll make sure that that's all done right. He'll make sure it's done up to the current codes, and it's kind of a second insurance that the contractor's done his job properly, okay? The other benefit is the full value for your added square feet. How many times, Scott, you're a sales agent, how many times did you sell a house and there was a addition put on there that wasn't permitted?
Mm-hmm.
So it went from a 1,500 square foot house down to a 1,200 square foot house. So you're insured that you're gonna get that price for the square foot.
Mm-hmm.
That's an important thing.
Hmm.
Rick, you have anything to add on any of these?
Good.
Safety. So that's another key thing is building to the current codes provides public health and safety. For one example is your smoke detector system, bringing that up to date. Bringing your old aluminum wire up to copper, updating those things.
GFIs is huge, I see.
Yes, that's a huge thing because the code's currently changed and now they want the whole house done that way. So that makes sure that that's there. So you have a savvy buyer, he's asking you some certain questions. Has this been updated? Where are we at with this? Have you done that? You've gone through the process and you can say in confidence, yes, it is up to date. The process. So the process is very simple with most municipalities. You're going to go down there with a couple sets of plans. They're going to review them. They're going to stamp them. They're going to give you one set, and they're going to keep the set for their records. You're going to have a permit application. You're going to fill that out and submit that, and then they're going to ask you for the required fees. You're going to pay for that. Now, in some instances, you can get an over-the-counter permit. So you go there, you sit down, you review it with somebody right there. Take about an hour or two. They'll review it, they'll collect your money, and they'll stamp it and give you your permit right there. if you're talking larger buildings, and I don't know what the square foot requirement is, Rick.
It's 500 square foot is the requirement to do over the counters. And it can't have any structural items that need to be reviewed. So it has to be just a basic non-bearing wall. You're adding a partition wall between two spaces, and it's very basic. Maybe a little bit of plumbing, maybe a little bit of electrical, but under 500 square feet for an over the counter.
Design. So the importance of having somebody design it for you is to have the functional ability coupled with budget. So you have a budget in mind, you say, I want to spend this much money on my project. So you explain that to the designer, and then you tell them, I want this feature, I want that feature, I want it to look like this. And then that designer or architect can help with the balance between the design and your budget. You always want to do that in front, because if you go out and get a design done and you have your heart set on it, you have a $40,000 budget but it's a $60,000 job, that could be a problem. Yeah, and it's also required for the permit application, so you need those drawings. So with that, I'll let you talk a little bit about the design aspect of things.
Okay. The design's kind of an important piece, especially when you're working with a contractor, because it's almost like you have an open checkbook if you go to a contractor with a design or a concept or a napkin drawing, because you don't have anything to attach to your contract to kind of hold the contractor's feet to his fire. So you go out to a project and you want to add a room addition, and you want to just do something very small, very easy, and the contractor goes and he says, oh, we got to do this, oh, we found this, oh, we found this, and then all of a sudden your budget's going from $40,000 up to $80,000, and he makes more money, and so he uses that as a tool. So using design documents will help you to manage the project and keep your costs at what it needs to be, using those documents with your contractor.
Yeah, you can set the scope of work. There's defined components to that, and then you're able to keep that budget on a steady line. Any questions, guys? All right, well, that's all I have.